That's why I couldn't be happier. Hello, Broadway besties, and welcome to From the Mezzanine, the Broadway podcast for the Broadway fans, where we talk about all things Broadway news, Broadway grosses, and let's be honest, all of the tea and gossip that happens week to week in the Broadway stratosphere. And I am your host, Lindsey Stone. Thank you for meeting me here From the Mezzanine. What is up? How are we? I took a little break from the pod. Last week, we did a little revisited moment back to my very first episode. I'm biting my nails. That was scary. I have always been like, oh my gosh, I cannot even think about the fact that my early episodes are still out there in the zeitgeist. It's a very scary thought, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. I just feel like what I do now, my level of comfortability on the podcast these days is very different than how I was at the beginning. I would get so nervous to sit in a room alone and talk into my phone, which that's okay. You can be nervous for that. But like, I was really nervous, and now it's just like, okay, let's do this thing. You know, it's just different. But it wasn't bad. I was very shocked when I listened to that episode. I was like, she's kind of spitting facts. She's just like acting like she's, I don't know, a politician / professor, like speaking with such clarity. And now I just spill words out of my mouth here every week, which we love, right? We love. Okay. So anyways, that was fun. I'm still high riding my obsession with Wicked, as I hope all of you are too. I saw it one time over my Thanksgiving break, and I just love that dang movie. It's so good. So good. And I spoke about it at length 2 weeks ago. For an hour and 10 minutes, I spoke about Wicked. So I shan't bore you here, but I will be releasing my rankings of the Wicked for Good soundtrack on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. And then maybe I'll just do like my top 5 overall of the Wicked songs, of what my favorites are. But that will be coming out because Wicked is taking up every single available space in my brain right now. I love it so much. It's Christmas time in the city right now. And let me tell you guys, for those of you who are not in New York, be patting yourself on the back because you are doing better than we are. It's cold AF out there. This Texas girl, I hate it. I hate the cold. I cannot deal with it. It is my least favorite thing ever to wear a big coat in a theater. That sucks because where are you to put this big coat? I suppose if you're of a certain class, you utilize coat check and pay for them to keep your coat, but your girl ain't doing that. So what am I supposed to do? Like, what was I meant to do, right? It's just a hard time. And unfortunately, since I am a girl on a budget here in NYC, I have to make the most of these quiet months. Right now is not a quiet month. December is crazy, but after January and into February, New York is quiet as a mouse. There's no one here because it's horrible here. So cold. There's sludge on the street. Nobody's hanging out with anybody because what are we supposed to do? Freeze our butts off to get to a restaurant? It's just, I guess I'm having like some like pre-winter depression, which I shouldn't. I need to revel in the beauty of the Christmas season in NYC. But like, I have anxiety about the very cold weather because it is the bane of my existence. I really wish that I could sublet my apartment and go somewhere else, but I can't do that. So we're going to live through it. And you just get to hear me complain about it on From the Mezzanine. Ding! I hope you all love that. Okay, where was I? I feel like I was going somewhere with that, but I don't know. I have some reviews that are long overdue. I need to talk to you guys about this little play called Gruesome Playground Injuries. And then we also are going to break down Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York City, which has been a real life scenario I have been in this past week as I have been planning my wedding. And for those of you who don't know, I'm engaged. I'm getting married in April and I can't wait. And this week I was doing my wedding cake planning and I found a great baker and I was like, oh, perfect. The bakery is a mere half-mile away from my venue. So I can send somebody to go pick it up and I don't have to pay a delivery fee because once again, girl on a budget, okay? And these wedding prices are sending me into a spiral. Well, turns out, of course, they don't make the custom cakes in the location that's closest to my venue. Because why would they? Why would they? So anyways, I'm not going to have two strangers carry cake for me across New York City. Actually, I guess I now will have two strangers because I will have to get it delivered. So I was going to send people in my wedding party to go pick it up, but no longer an option. So yeah, I guess I will be actually having two strangers carry my cake since I will have to use delivery. Anyways, yes, let's talk about two strangers carrying a cake across New York City. This was my most anticipated show of the season, hands down. I guess it was second to Chess. But after I saw Chess, it was like, okay, all eyes point towards Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York City. I'm not going to abbreviate and use their more concise name, Two Strangers. I will be saying the full government name the entire episode. So this show, actually, since Spotify Wrapped just came out, shout out to my Broadway besties who I was on their Spotify Wrapped. That is so cool. I love that so much. And thank you guys for tagging me. And thank you for being loyal supporters of From the Mezzanine and listening hours on end. You are the real ones. I adore you. But I was looking back at my 2024 Spotify Wrapped to compare it to my 2025. And guess what? This musical has been on my Spotify Wrapped top songs for the past 2 years. And it is due to one song. New York, I'm already walking the walk. New York, I'm already talking the talk 'cause I'm ready. That song has some sort of special sauce in it to where I want to listen to it nonstop. And that special sauce is Sam Tutty. Tootie? I don't know. I'm going to go with Tutty. His voice is so good. The lyricism of that song is so clever. It's so fun. It's so funny. I love it. It sets a perfect tone for this musical. And it's the first song. Yeah. So, okay. That is my introduction to the show. Broadway bestie Braun, I have to give her credit. She introduced me to the New York song and I was like, inject this into my veins. I'm obsessed with it. And so I have been counting down the days until I can finally see this in New York. I was singing the praises of this musical whenever they first announced they were coming to New York when I went to the West End. I was devastated it wasn't still playing. I was a big fan of this show before I ever even saw it. So I finally was invited to come and see Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York City. I had pristine seats. I am ready to break it down. So let's start with the show as a whole. It's extremely charming, very endearing, very cute, very lovable. It has deep moments. I love the integration of New York, Brooklyn. It shouts out, I bet all of the boroughs. It is a very realistic portrayal of a tourist coming to New York City on cloud nine, their assumptions about the city. He meets a local girl who is the sister of the bride who is getting married. That is why Sam Tutty's character, Dougal, is coming to New York because his dad, whom he's never met, is getting married. And I'm not going to give anything away because it's still very early in their run. I'm sure a lot of the Broadway besties have not seen it yet. But that's sort of the gist. Two strangers, they meet. Dougal has the expectation that Robin, who is played by Christiane Pitts, is going to be his new best friend. And technically, upon this marriage, Robin will be Dougal's aunt. So anyways, it's just funny. He has a certain expectation that he is absolutely not met. And he's rolling with the punches. He's like an eternal optimistic figure. He's extremely cute. He has a very big childlike sensibility to him. Super cute. It's also a really great holiday show because it is taking place during a holiday season in New York. It's romantic. It's adorable. So that's the gist of the show. I think each performance was amazing. Sam Tutty is clearly the standout. I don't think he will be a huge contender for the Tony Awards, but he will certainly be nominated. It's just very hard to compare this lighthearted performance by Sam Tutty to something as heavy and extreme as what Nicholas Christopher and Aaron Tveit are doing over in Chess. But he will definitely be nominated, no doubt about that. Christiane Pitts, I'm not sure if she will be nominated. She was really good. She's a much more down-to-earth figure in this musical. But I wouldn't say either of their performances are technically hard to do, aside from the fact that it is a two-person musical and they're the only two people on stage the entire time. And that is a heavy, heavy feat in and of itself. But yeah, I would definitely say Sam Tutty is the star of this musical. He kind of makes himself the star, I would say, just because his character lends itself to that so well. He's just so likable. I thought the story, the plot lines were extremely strong. I loved the mystery of he's coming to New York. He's super optimistic, but he has never met his dad, and he's coming all the way here alone. And it's for this wedding that he doesn't know anybody there. I think that is an intriguing storyline in and of itself. And then you find out that you're not super clear on if Robin is going to the wedding, the sister of the bride. She clearly has a difficult relationship with her sister, and there's a lot of mystery and intrigue there as well. So that part of the storyline I really like. And they're just these two unlikely characters that become friends. Are they going to be more than that? It's spoiler alert. Waits 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. It's still not even clear at the end if they are romantic interests. Dougal is certainly trying to make advances, but it's also weird because technically they are going to be family after this wedding. I don't know. There are some rocky moments in the plot and the storyline as well. If I were to recreate this musical in Lindsey fashion, I would probably make it a little bit more concise. I would take out some of the songs that feel a little bit like filler, I would say, some extra reprises, potentially unnecessary, and I would condense it into a one-act musical. 90 minutes, quick. I love how Maybe Happy Ending does not lead the audience along with their story. They are just like nosediving into the story, going forward, and they're trusting that their audience is smart enough to come along on this journey with them. I think Maybe Happy Ending was a beautiful example of we're telling our story and we are like pushing forward, no unnecessary moments. Everything is essential to driving the plot forward. As somebody with a short attention span, I love that. I feel like Two Strangers could have benefited from being a little bit more direct and through line. And it being a two-person musical, it can get hard sometimes to remain focused on the story. And I would say, even though I love the New York song, I kind of feel like the best was revealed to me at the very beginning, whereas you want to have some incredible numbers throughout rather than just lead with your best of the best. I think that it definitely feels like a West End show for a lot of reasons. It's super trendy. Like there's an entire song about Tinder, swipe, swipe, swipe. It's just very topical in a sort of internet slang sort of way. So yeah, I think it will have success. I'm excited to look at our Broadway grosses here in a bit, just to see how it's shaping out now that it's out of previews. Because it is in the Cursed Longacre Theater. Will it break the curse? It's so charming, and I feel like the word of mouth is so great that it stands a chance. I'm just concerned because it's so early to have brought it to Broadway, like in this season, that it has to make it all the way to June to make it to the Tonys. And it's just a tricky time right now for an original musical to open on Broadway, which we will talk about in our Broadway news. Okay, I think I said all I wanted to say. I liked the set. A little bit more variation would have been nice. It opens on all of these suitcases that are utilized in very creative ways. Somehow they're configured into becoming a coffee shop or like a Chinese restaurant. It's creative. It's a very creative set. I think the lighting design was beautiful. But just for me and my attention span, I would have preferred it to be more concise, not a 2-act musical, and have a little bit more variation to excite the audience throughout the show, throughout the 2.5 hour show, with only 2 people. It's a tricky thing to try and achieve the heights that they're trying to reach with only 2 people on the stage. But luckily, their plot is extremely strong. Like, I was into it. I was super curious. How is this wedding going to go? What are these different and unclear relationship dynamics that are playing out on stage? I was holding on. I enjoyed it. But it is, I would say, not completely what I was expecting going in. Okay, moving on to Gruesome Playground Injuries. This is a unique play. So this is playing at the Lucille Lortel Theater. It is starring Nicholas Braun and Cara Young. Of course, we know Cara Young. She's nominated for a Tony every single year. I saw her in Pearly Victorious. She's an incredible actress. And then Nicholas Braun. Everybody knows him from Succession. Yeah. What about Sky High? Can I get some commotion for the highlighter boy in Sky High? That's my man, Nicholas Braun. I was amazed by Nicholas Braun's performance. He is an incredible actor, probably one of the best actors I have ever seen. This play is very interesting. It's also only a 2-person play, and it portrays through the years this friendship between these two. It starts out when they are in elementary school, and it goes up until, I think it goes up until they're like in their 50s or 40s, and it bounces around. Super interesting. We always catch them in a new scene when Nicholas Braun's character has injured himself in some way. He's accident prone, air quotes. He, I don't know, has a perverse attraction to hurting himself in the most obscure ways. It's very cringe in your seat, especially for somebody who hates medical things ever. Like, he like knocks his eye out. At the end of it, he's in a wheelchair and he is paralyzed because of how much he has injured himself. It's a great play. I think it would not be a great play if they did not have 2 incredible actors at the helm. But I was super interested in it. It's a 90-minute play. I loved it. I really did. I would give it a 10 out of 10. But also I left and I was like, what was the moral? What's the moral to that? Don't hurt yourself? No, the moral was be there for the people who need you, because they're supposed to be these best friends, but they keep only seeing each other maybe every 5 to 10 years when Nicholas Braun is maybe in a hospital again, or if somebody died, then they see each other. So I think the moral is to not let one of those traumatic life events happen to connect in a deep way with the people who you care about. But I loved it. I really did. It's hard to put into words for sure. But I thought it was an excellent play, and I would deeply recommend going and seeing it. It's running through the end of the month, only 8 weeks, through December 28th at the Lucille Lortel Theater. Don't miss it, guys. It's amazing. Okay, with that, let's head on into our Broadway grosses. I'm excited to look at this. So this is accounting for the week ending on November 30th. Our number 1, of course, it has to be Hamilton, because this is accounting for the week that Leslie Odom Jr. has departed. So sad. I never got to see it again. I'm so mad. But what are you going to do? At least I got to see it one time. But I really deeply wish I could have seen it a second time, standing room. But I probably would have bled out for it and not even gotten it, because it was tough out there. They grossed, guys, I literally want to throw up. In their final week with Leslie, they grossed $4.8 million. Nearly $5 million. I'm like sick. That is insane. That just goes to show how crazy the Hamilton fan base is. Wild. Our number 2 is exponentially high for this show as well. It is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the Tom Felton Effect. They grossed $3.1 million last week. Whoa. Oh, that is just so crazy considering the show lives in the middle of the grosses week to week. And then boom, Tom Felton is in it. Over $3 million a week. That is big money, people. Big money. Wicked is 3, grossing over 3 million as well. It's a huge week. Lion King is 4, like crazy, grossing 2.7 million. 5 is Chess. Oh my God. I'm so happy. They grossed over 2 million, just barely over 2 million. 98% capacity, killing the game. Chess is absolutely making it to Tony season in June. I'm so impressed. Mamma Mia is 6, grossing just below Chess, which also is wild to me that these two are neck and neck. I would not think. Oh, but also it's so funny because they're both ABBA musicals. And they're neck and neck. I love that. I just would not think that this national tour transfer to Broadway would be neck and neck with this mega Broadway musical revival that has Hollywood A-list stars in it. Insane. Aladdin is 7, grossing $1.7 million. Outsiders is 8? Why? That is so high for them. I guess because it was just a very big touristy week with Thanksgiving Day Parade, and it won Best Musical 2 years ago. So I guess it's super recognizable. It's a big touristy show. That feels really high for me. I would have thought Death Becomes Her would have done better than The Outsiders, but that's awesome. Ragtime is 9. Awesome for them. $1.4 million. Maybe Happy Ending is rounding it out at 10. I'm so happy to see that this is a valid touristy show. That's awesome. Incredible. We had a low week for art. Art used to be way high. They're at 11. Still great. Death Becomes Her is 12. Stranger Things. Since Stranger Things, I think final season, I'm not sure. I don't watch the show, but since that just came out, I bet we are going to continue to see a bump in their grosses week to week because usually Stranger Things is quite low. Great Gatsby had a great week. Of course, that's very touristy. 1.3 million, 92% capacity. Okay. Buena Vista had an incredible week. Of course. Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about it, but I love talking about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and Buena Vista Social Club was one of the lucky few to be in the Thanksgiving Day Parade. Just in Time is shockingly below Buena Vista. That's crazy to me. But they also performed at the Thanksgiving Day Parade. If I were to rank our performances, I would say Just in Time number 1, and then probably Buena Vista 2, and Ragtime 3. Ragtime was good. I just felt like it did not lend itself well to the Thanksgiving Day Parade, unfortunately. But I was brought to tears. It was a beautiful performance. It made me very emotional. But something else in that slot that is just a little bit more commercial, upbeat, perhaps, would have been a little bit better. Like Two Strangers Carry a Cake would have been perfect. I'm disappointed, but it's fine. But yeah, I am surprised to see Just in Time so low. 88% capacity. Was there an understudy on for Jonathan Groff? I know I saw that there was an understudy on recently. Maybe so. Or maybe the tourists don't care about it as much. Let's look at our bottom. I'm scared. I don't want to look. Let's see how Beetlejuice is doing. 63% capacity. Not great, but the Palace is huge. They are grossing well under $1 million a week. Okay. QOV, Queen of Versailles, which we will be talking about very soon. 77% capacity. Not great. And this is their lowest grossing week so far at under 700,000 for that week. Two Strangers Carry a Cake. Okay. Two Strangers, guys, is our lowest grossing musical. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I'm not happy about this. They grossed $643,000 for the week of Thanksgiving, and they had 73% capacity. Yikes. I don't like this. I don't like to see this. This is my plea. Producers, hi, and everyone involved, okay? Let this find an audience, please. It will find an audience. From what I see, I think the word of mouth is growing and growing and growing. This needs time. Please let it simmer. Please let them cook, okay? Let them cook at Two Strangers because they need to find an audience. Don't make a premature closing announcement. I pray. Please, this is my plea to the producers and everyone involved in Two Strangers. Let them cook. No, but for real. It needs time. A show like this, our new musicals, our original musicals, they need time to simmer on Broadway. Let that word of mouth generate and it will find an audience. I promise. It's finding an audience. I am seeing so much talk and fodder about it. But it is our lowest grossing musical for last week, grossing below Queen of Versailles, grossing below Chicago, which is rude. I think that's rude. We have so much Broadway news to talk about, guys. Let's get into it. Okay. First news story, Broadway Besties, is crazy. I wish I could say it's unexpected. It's not. We all knew this was going to happen. Whitney Leavitt from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is going to be our next Roxie Hart in Chicago, on Broadway. Okay, I watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives religiously. I love that show. Whitney, I want to love her. I thought she was really great in Dancing with the Stars. I also watched that. I thought she was going to win. And then Secret Life of Mormon Wives comes out and she is once again the villain. Not the worst villain, but still a villain. And then boom, she's voted off Dancing with the Stars. Sorry, Whitney, but you did not come off well in this season. Something that she is so interesting because her TikTok presence, she's a queen. She's so likable on TikTok. But you actually sit her down and have a convo with her, she's not that likable. I am so curious. I am so deeply curious of the effect having her in Chicago, what that will do for their show. Because one, the TikToks are going to be amazing. She is going to be promoting the shit out of her show. And I cannot wait for that. I am a huge proponent. I love theater going TikTok. I'm a social media manager. Like, this is one of my favorite things. And I think we are all going to be doing her trends that she is about to set. I myself would call myself a theater talker. I love theater talk. And the fact that Whitney Leavitt is about to bring a ton of more views and a ton of attention to the internet side of Broadway, it's going to be freaking huge for my industry. I love it. I'm super lit about that aspect in and of itself. She is going to be TikToking away backstage and it's going to be huge. I have never seen Chicago on Broadway. This might get me there depending on what people say about her performance. She's an amazing dancer. We have all seen that. But can she sing? She said in an interview recently with Dancing with the Stars that she could not sing. So that makes me very nervous. But if there's one thing I know about Whitney Leavitt, it's that girly is committed to the bit. She will be in singing lessons probably 8 hours a day up until she makes her debut because she is what? She's a star. She is a star that we are lucky to have on Broadway. Look, I feel for the actors. I feel for the Broadway actors that are feeling very unseen because these big internet personalities are just walking onto Broadway so easily. We just had Trisha Paytas. That was a wee bit controversial. And now we have Whitney Leavitt. And I see the actors that I follow and they're like, LOL, I wish I just was on a reality TV show so that I could make a Broadway debut. And for that, I hate it. I do. I feel for you. You're completely right in what you feel. But at the same time, Broadway is and always will be a money-making business. It is the number one, for better or for worse, it is the number one priority of Broadway to make money. And these people are how we do it. Luckily, I think Whitney will benefit Broadway in more ways than just making her own Broadway debut. I think she is going to bring a lot of people to Broadway that wouldn't have been interested in it in the first place. And like I said, from the social media aspect, she's going to get a lot more eyes on theater and Broadway as a whole, which I love. So Whitney posted on Instagram, she said, My heart is so full right now seeing you all book tickets and make the journey to see Chicago. It means the world to me. I'm going to give it my all. Can't wait to see and hug you all in the Big Apple XX Roxie Hart. It's perfect. It's not a perfect casting. I'm not going to say it's a perfect casting, but if she's going to come to Broadway in anything, obviously it would be Chicago. It's just so wild. I'm so curious what it is like to be on the decision-making team for the casting of Chicago. Like, do they just have a going list of everyone who's expressed interest of wanting to be in it? And they're just like, it's her time. I mean, this is a great time for her to come off the heels of her success in Dancing with the Stars. Secret Life of Mormon Wives has never been bigger. She's a huge star. I love it. I would love to have her on the pod. Whitney, you're invited. Come on, girl. And I think it's going to overall do good things for the industry. Guys, she's literally going to be in Chicago for 8 weeks. It's very short. It is from February 2nd through March 15th. I think she'll be overlapping with Alex Newell. So for me, I feel like this is a good time for me to go and see it. I kind of want to see her dance. Like, Chicago is such a big dancing musical. Maybe it doesn't matter that she can't sing very much. I can't say because I've never seen it. But maybe it's my time. Maybe this time I'll see Chicago with Whitney Leavitt as Roxie Hart. JJ Neiman made a hilarious TikTok post when he realized that Chicago, the theater, the Ambassador Theater, directly faces Book of Mormon. So she's going to be right there. I'm sure she's going to go see it. But I'm so excited for this TikTok era of having a huge TikTok star on Broadway. This is like very interesting to me. Okay, our next story, guys. Guess what? OMG. Queen of Versailles, I'm holding up the playbill, has announced that they are closing on Broadway on Black Sunday, January 5th. Okay, 4th, January 4th, they are closing. This is a shock considering the fact that Queen of Versailles has not been grossing super poorly. We've been tracking their grosses, and I've been very surprised to see that they've been grossing typically anywhere from $800,000 a week to $1 million. And even that is not enough to sustain this big, elaborate, larger-than-life musical on Broadway. I saw it this past week, and let me tell you, it is elaborate. It is expensive. That cast is huge. The set design is, oh my gosh, ornate. We had Stephen Schwartz write the music, expensive. We had Michael Arden direct, expensive. We have Kristen Chenoweth as our leading lady, expensive. Lots of expenses involved. So that is the reason, or one of the reasons, that grossing $1 million a week is not enough to sustain this Broadway show. Now, I want to quote this article that I read about it because I was confused. Why is it closing? Oh, an interesting factoid. It's reported that it cost $22.5 million to mount on Broadway. Now, I thought it would have been more. I would have estimated like $30 million, considering our average for a musical on Broadway is typically about $25 million these days. But it actually is lower than average, but still a hell of a lot. So, quoting Onstage Blog, which is a great blog for all things Broadway, they did an article about why is this closing. Let me share it with you guys. So, they say, quote, "The reviews didn't help either. They weren't scathing, but they weren't clear. Critics didn't seem to know what movie they were watching, let alone which musical they were seeing. Some walked in expecting satire. Some expected a deep dive. What they got was something in between, a show that flickered between tones without fully committing to either," quote. I agree with that. Like I said, I saw it. I think that is very evident. Is this a parody? Is this satire? Is this an authentic retelling of the story of the documentary? I've seen the documentary. I loved the documentary. It was a very, very interesting. But I couldn't quite nail down what angle they were taking with this musical. So, it's closing. It's leaving Broadway. I'm curious, did it run longer than Redwood? Let's see. I'm sorry, I hate pitting women against women. I don't want to do that. But it is just kind of, we do talk about the tea of Broadway. And to me, that's an interesting factoid. Redwood closed with 110 performances and 17 previews. This show, Queen of Versailles, will be closing with 65 performances and 32 previews. Wow. So Queen of Versailles, they have been doing a ton of press ahead of time too. You have to think about that. I thought their marketing and their press and their like marquee, their design, everything, I loved it. I love the marketing design of this musical. It's beautiful, stunning, so representative too of the musical itself. I think they did a great job really captivating what this musical is trying to promote in their marketing. It's gaudy, it's elaborate, it's over the top, it's eccentric. So I love that aspect, but that's another thing you have to think about is how much advanced press they did for this musical. That's extremely costly as well. And the fact that they're closing after just 65 performances, yikes, that's pretty excruciating. So I wanted to note, because I thought this was so interesting, it's something that we can kind of keep an eye out for. This show is closing, like I said, on Black Sunday, which historically is the first Sunday after New Year's, and apparently a lot of shows typically will close on this day because you made it all the way through the holiday season and boom, everybody in New York disappears for the very, very cold months. And so if you don't think your show is set to make a good amount of money through those quiet months, then you're going to have to close. It will pick back up in the spring, but yeah, the tourists, they evaporate into thin air, and so do some of our musicals. Last year on Black Sunday, Suffs and Back to the Future closed. So this is why I'm nervous. I do not want more shows to announce that they are closing on Black Sunday. I do not want Two Strangers to announce that they are closing on Black Sunday, considering that they were our lowest grossing musical this past week. But it's also extremely scary to think of losing really high amounts of money every single week just to make it until the tourist months pick back up again in March and April. So yeah, scary. But I didn't know about this term Black Sunday. Now I do. And now I'm like, yikes. Poor Kristen. She like my problematic queen. She definitely has put her whole Christussy, I'm so sorry for saying that, into playing Jackie Siegel. And it's a shame that it wasn't better and that it's just kind of withering away in the way that it is. It's like, yikes. It's a disappointment for sure. Okay, our next news story, not our last, we have one extra news story at the end, but our next news story is also very interesting. Okay, Death of a Salesman is coming back to Broadway. What? It just was here literally yesterday in 2022. We had that production of Death of a Salesman with Wendell Pierce and Andre DeShields, and yeah, no, it's coming back already. So I hope all of my Death for a Salesman girlies are super pumped that their play is coming back, because that's crazy. That's really crazy to have another revival 3 years later. That's insane. Anyways, but guess what? Guess who's in it? Nathan Lane, Laurie Metcalf. Okay, very exciting. It's going to be playing at the Winter Garden. That is crazy. This is another play going to the Winter Garden. Is Nathan Lane big enough to sell at the Winter Garden? I love me some Nathan Lane. I really, really do. But that is a really big theater. But we just had George Clooney and Good Night and Good Luck over at the Winter Garden. And of course that sold out at very high price tags. But Nathan Lane, I just wonder how this is going to play out. And we're going to find out because it's happening, ready or not. I hope you're ready for another revival of Death of a Salesman. Yeah, that's kind of all we know. It's going to be directed by Joe Mantello, who I looked up and realized, oh, I've talked to him. I know him. Like, I've actually met him. And he was the director of Wicked. I had no idea. He's currently working on Bear Ridge Road, which also, of course, stars our Laurie Metcalf. And I have not seen that. I actually haven't seen any conversation about Bear Ridge Road. I probably won't see it unless they invite me, just to be frank. But there's some interesting links here that I want to bring to your attention, Broadway besties. Okay. Disgraced producer Scott Rudin is producing this show. He also produced Bear Ridge Road. Scott Rudin is extremely controversial and very not well liked because he has had many hit pieces on him of having bad behavior and abusive behavior. Let's just say, I don't think he's a good guy, all right? But of course, the theater community has its faults, and he is welcomed back into the world of Broadway, of course, because I guess he's probably pretty good at his job, even though he's abusive and mean. I don't know. Why do we keep working with these bad people on Broadway? I don't know. But he produced Bear Ridge Road, Joe Mantello on Bear Ridge Road, Laurie Metcalf on Bear Ridge Road. So it's kind of like hey guys, this seems to be going well, I guess. Let's do another. Again. Again. And let's bring it to one of the biggest theaters on Broadway. I don't know. I can't exactly say I'm super pumped for this just because it's not really my brand. I don't care much for this show. Let me tell you what it's about, okay? Because I actually, look, we meet each other where we're at here on From the Mezzanine. I actually don't know what this show is about. So here's the synopsis. Quote, one man and his family are caught up in the pressures and delusions of living the American dream. Miller's play is the story of a traveling salesman whose illusions of a picture-perfect business and family life cave in on him. Bum, bum, bum! Yeah, it's not my brand, but obviously I love Nathan Lane. I would see it. But will I see it? I don't know. Is this going to have a high ticket price, considering it's in such a big theater and the stars are Nathan Lane and Laurie Metcalf? I don't feel like it can have that high of a price, but also I don't want to sit in the back of the Winter Garden and watch a play. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be running for 14 weeks and the engagement will begin on March 6th with an opening on April 9th. So it's a really great time to come to Broadway. It's definitely the beginning of tourist season. So good for them. I don't know. I just felt like I had to talk about it because Nathan Lane's coming back to Broadway and I feel like nobody's talking about it. It's kind of important. We love Nathan Lane. Producers is an amazing movie that I had the pleasure of watching for the first time about a year ago. Now, let's bring that back. Let's do a revival of that. When was the last time we had that revived? 2013? Let's look it up. I love live looking things up. Okay, so people are saying this West End revival might transfer to Broadway. I would bet on that. Well, that is all I have to say about Death of a Salesman. Clearly, I feel like y'all can sense in my tone I don't have much to offer the conversation. So let's move on to something that's more exciting. Moulin Rouge, baby! Y'all know I cannot let a news story about Moulin Rouge come out and not speak about it. I'm From the Mezzanine. I love this show. Sue me. Ryan Vasquez is going to be our next Christian on the national tour of Moulin Rouge. Now, this was surprising to me for a few reasons. One, I like this choice. Ryan Vasquez is very different than what we typically see as the brunette lover boy Christian, the composer. He's a more serious actor, I would say. And Christian is supposed to be really naive, young-hearted, and just adorable. And I've never seen Ryan Vasquez in that capacity. Like in The Outsiders, he was Daryl. In The Notebook, he was middle Noah, just like with a good head on his shoulders and a focus on, building a house and finding his woman, Like I feel like Christian is quite a departure from his typical roles that he plays. But it's also funny because, of course, our king, John Cardoza, was one of the best Christians I've ever seen, and he played younger Noah in The Notebook. So maybe there's some sort of connection there with getting Ryan Vasquez into the role. But when you think about it, John Cardoza and Ryan Vasquez, they are very different actors and people. And so I feel like that is a good visual because like John Cardoza was just such a young, love-struck boy as Christian, and Ryan Vasquez is going to be playing it pretty differently. I wonder if he'll play it like a little bit more like Derek Klena, because Derek Klena is like a bit more of a serious sort of actor. It's just surprising to me. Also, the fact that Ryan Vasquez has become such a big Broadway boyfriend that he's going to go do a national tour. I love that. I love, like, don't be too good to go on a national tour. I mean, of course, he's at the helm. He's of it. He's the star of a national tour. But I just kind of thought maybe he would have thought he was too good for that. No, he's going to go do. Ryan Vasquez stays employed. And I love that for him. But also, since we're talking about Moulin Rouge, oh, by the way, let's stick to the facts. Ryan Vasquez will begin his run on December 23rd at the Orpheum Theater in San Francisco. I think they're doing like a sit down in San Francisco. They've been there for a minute. But since we're talking about Moulin Rouge, I've been seeing clips of Meg Donnelly, our queen from Zombies. Someday we could be ordinary. She is killing it as Satine. She looks so beautiful. She sounds excellent. The comments do not agree. The comments are mean. Okay, you guys. You cannot take a bootleg shaky video that has terrible audio quality to mean that somebody is doing poorly. I think she's doing amazingly. I love it, and I love Milo Manheim there to support her. It's so cute. Speaking of Milo Manheim, Madame Morrible, flip it around, Wicked Witch. I had to say it. I was really sad that went viral during my week off because I was like, I need to join in on the fun. Okay, I just had to say that before we ended the episode. And then also Bob the Drag Queen is about to be making their debut on January 27th. So there's a lot happening in the Moulin Rouge world right now that I'm just really lit for. I love Moulin Rouge. They stay relevant. They stay casting stars. And they're really killing it. They really are. And with that, guys, Madame Morrible, flip it around, Wicked Witch. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of From the Mezzanine. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at From the Mezzanine Broadway. You can find all things From the Mezzanine at FromTheMezzanine.com. You can become my personal Broadway bestie and get a bonus episode called Meet Me at the Stage Door weekly over on Patreon or through Spotify. If you unlock premium access, it's $5.99 a month. Once again, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye!